Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Corinna Seibert. I work at the Swiss Embassy. I'm the Economics and Culture Counselor. It's a great pleasure to open this afternoon series of discussion panels of this year's Swiss Days with such distinguished speakers that we have on the panel who will be bringing in their perspective on the issue of vocational education and business development. This morning at the Swiss-Turkish Economic Forum, we already had a first round of discussions. We had thought-provoking insights on the question of use of artificial intelligence. What will it mean for our future workforce? We had different discussions around competencies needed, critical thinking, communication, but also about leadership. I think this is now the moment where we continue this conversation with all of you, with, as I said, the specific focus on vocational education and business development. I very much look forward to this panel because we have a very diverse, interesting group here with us. We have representatives from educational institutions, we have industry association here with us, and we also have, very importantly, private sector representatives. Let me also just say a few words on our distinguished moderator we have here with us today, Ms. Nazmiye Altandash Balkani. She has 16 years of experience in HR consultancy. She's a graduate from Koç University on a full scholarship. But as the 16 years shows, she has a long, distinguished career already going for her. She started at BAT and then she joined Michael Page, and at this point she is Operations Director at the Adecco Group. And without further ado, I hope we will have a very inspiring conversation here and enjoy this panel for the Swiss Days. Thank you so much.
Can you hear me? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's panel discussion on vocational education and training. As she has already shared, my name is Nazmiye Altandash Balkani and I will be your moderator today. I'm so excited and honored to have such a diverse and knowledgeable group of speakers to discuss about this hugely important topic. In this panel, our purpose is to explore some best practices and strong strategies for vocational education and training. Also, its power to shape future's talent. And I'm so confident that my incredible speakers, they will provide us valuable insights. As the panel moderator, I will be guiding us through this session. Unfortunately, we have a very short period of time, only 90 minutes. But before we begin, let me give you a brief overview of how the session will unfold. Firstly, I will quickly introduce myself and my speakers. Then we will dive into discussion with some questions we have already prepared. Then after that, there will be a Q&A part. We will be opening the floor to your questions. Frankly speaking, we would like to ensure really engaging and interactive session. Please feel free to note down your questions during the speeches. At the end, we will try to get as many as possible. Okay, I think we can move on to introduction part. To give you a bit of background about myself, as an operations director, today I'm representing Adecco Group, which is Swiss-based leading HR consultancy company globally. In Turkey, Adecco has been operating for the last 30 years with its 3 brands in 14 branches and 6 different locations. The red one, Adecco, is most well-known one among its brands, but moreover, there are also LHH and Akkodis operating in Turkish market. LHH is focusing on career transition of C-level profiles and outplacement, learning and development operations, whereas Akkodis is fully outsourcing solution provider, mainly for technology and engineering areas. And I'm so happy that my amazing colleagues from Adecco, Neslihan, head of LHH, and Ali, head of Akkodis, they are also part of Swiss Days today and tomorrow. I'm sure they will provide you further information about their capabilities in Turkey. Personally speaking, as we heard, I have more than 16 years of experience in HR consultancy area. In people business. Over the last 16 years, I've had the pleasure of working on executive search and selection, payrolling, out staffing, light outsourcing, full outsourcing, RPO management of small medium enterprises and big global players in Turkish market. I'm always passionate about learning, teaching and on-the-job training because the vocational educational training programs I participated in helped me a lot in my professional journey. Let's make this conversation insightful for everyone involved. Now I will quickly introduce my speakers. I know I'm quite lucky on that because I'm sure they are very familiar to many of you in this room, having had a long and distinguished career. Firstly, we have Erik Svars here with us. We are also lucky that he has agreed to stay in our panel as well, even though he was one of the speakers this morning. For the ones who didn't listen to him this morning, he is the head of international affairs of Swiss Federal University for Vocational Education and Training since 2013. He collaborates with global organizations like ILO, UNESCO. In the past, he was working for EPFL and Swiss Post. He has university degree in economics, and he had his MBA degree from the University of Lausanne. Please join me in welcoming Erik Svars. Welcome. Now I will introduce my next speakers, but I couldn't stop myself saying that I'm always delighted to have such a strong female leader with us. We have Natasha Teytas here. She is the country president for Novartis Turkey, which is very well-known pharmaceutical healthcare company. Natasha is an accomplished professional with expertise in social, business sciences, social and political sciences, business and law. After starting her career in internal auditing and business consulting, she transitioned to healthcare in 2002. At Novartis, she had some global positions, including global head of business assurance and advisory. In 2022, she became the country president for Novartis Turkey. She's so active in multiple boards, such as Swiss Chamber, you said, and I think that's a good one. She has been always passionate about improving patient access to treatments, and also as a mother, I can proudly say that she is a mother of two and amazing triathlete. Please welcome Natasha. Now, I would like to introduce Hakan Çoban. Hakan Bey is the Deputy Secretary General of Istanbul Chamber of Industry, which is the country's largest industrial chamber, by the way, but we will talk about it in detail later on. Hakan Bey has graduated from Anadolu University with honor degree. Then he had his master and PhD degrees in labor economics and industrial relations at Istanbul University. He started his career in 1999 as a foreign trade manager. Since then, he has contributed to Koç Group as a consultant in professional development, HR systems and training. In 2006, Hakan Bey joined to Istanbul Chamber of Industry, where now he is so active on creating initiatives for education, R&D and professional development. Also, please join me in welcoming Hakan Bey. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so happy that now I will introduce my amazing colleague from Adecco. We have Ali Bilal here. Ali Bey is the head of Akkodis brand. Akkodis, as we discussed earlier, is the full outsourcing engineering solution provider in Turkish market. Ali Bey is an experienced sales and business development professional with strong background and over 20 years of active working experience in automotive industry. He has graduated from Istanbul Technical University as a mechanical engineer, then he had his master's degree from the same institutions. Since 2019, he has been a part of Akkodis team. In his current position, he brings expertise in strategic consulting and engineering solutions to his clients. Again, please welcome Ali Bey. now we will start with the first round of questions. To get things started, I would like to ask each panelist to briefly share their thoughts on today's topic. What do you think is the most important contribution of vocational education and training? Eric, if you don't mind, I would like to start with your question first. Okay, the Swiss Federal University for Vocational Education and Training is Switzerland's expert and leading institution in that area. It offers training to professionals, it supports the development of occupations, conducts some research, also makes some international collaborations, just particularly in that area. In this context, how does Swiss Federal University contribute to adapting vocational education strategies to workforce future trends? We are all ears.
Thank you very much. Okay. It's working?
Yeah, it's working now.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the question. You're talking about new skills, new workforce trends. So I asked the question, okay, who is in the best place to develop or to identify the new skills of the workforce? Are these the teachers? Are these the ministers? Or the companies? Okay, I think we can answer to that question. So it's rather the companies, so the businesses, at least in Switzerland, who are responsible for this. And actually, I told also you this morning that we have these 250 recognized professions in Switzerland, and for each profession there is a kind of a commission for quality assurance and the development of this profession. And this commission is led by the private sector, by the professional associations. So there are representatives of the companies, there are employees, there are teachers, and there is also a representative of the government. So you see in this group, it's a whole mix of all stakeholders. And this commission has the task to revise and to update the curricula of the professions, so to update the skills. And according to the law in Switzerland, they have to do this at least each or every 5 years. Of course, in some branches, it's so fast changing, they can do it after 2 years or 3 years. So they have the lead, and when they revise the curricula or develop in a new profession, there are always 3 steps. So first of all is a little bit the analysis, what competencies are needed in the profession. I mentioned it this morning, a gardener, an electrician, ICT specialist. And for this first step, actually, they organize workshops, not with with the ministries and so on, but there are young professionals who are invited with 1, 2 years, 3 years experience, and they share what they are doing the whole day. So what are their work situations? Yeah? So this is then summarized. Then is a few weeks later there is a second workshop where there are then more professionals, experienced professionals, and they verify these kind of situations. And last but not least, then there is a third workshop where there are invited the leaders, and they look into the future. Okay, how the profession might be developed, what trends are important. And based on this, there is then a competence profile developed with all the skills that the professions, the professional associations think is important for today, but also for the future. And yeah, so there are 30 to 50 competencies per profession then in Switzerland, which are defined. And yeah, we have 3 learning locations in Switzerland: the company, the school, and also the branch training centers. and each competencies then are divided in these 3 learning locations. So this is a little bit the process, how it works in Switzerland, and this whole process ensures that actually the competencies that are taught or acquired by the apprentices that correspond then to the labor market, to the needs of the labor market, and also to the requirements of the new skills which are necessary in the industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric, for that detailed response. It was very insightful, and I would like to also underline that he's one of the key professionals in that area in vocational education and training. Thank you. Now I would like to move on to your question, Natasha. Novartis is globally recognized for its innovation and use of advanced technologies. As a part of your commitment to talent development, you offer a variety of training and internship programs. For instance, through your Go Big On Learning program, your employees can access over 3,600 courses on Coursera. Additionally, you have your summer internship program. It also offers students some real hands-on experience in niche areas such as AI, clinical development, engineering, data science. How do these training and internship programs affect your workforce development and innovation objectives? Also, could you please highlight if any training and development program you are currently implementing in Turkey?
Thank you very much. You already almost said it all, so it's going to be difficult. But now, first of all, a pleasure to be on this panel. I know it's after lunch, so we'll try to hopefully make it interactive as well. Now, I would say maybe the first question is the why. Is why are we doing that as Novartis? And the why is really trying to empower everyone, every single employee, no matter in which location or which role they are, to really fulfill their full potential. So that's where we're coming from. And then we mentioned a bit about curiosity this morning. And then the other piece to build upon is what is the culture we really try to live every day is really to be inspired, curious, and unbossed. So the one in the middle is curiosity. And that one is really a key one for Novartis, for myself, because I think if you are curious, that is the way to really learn and grow. And linking with the grow, this year we launched something that we call Growing Together. Because we believe if we want the company to grow, we have to make sure that everybody grows as well. And with that, we have 3, and yes, we discussed about KPIs this morning, but then we really decided to put KPIs in there. And there was 3 elements we want to focus on, and the first one is to ensure that everybody spends at least 40 hours per year on training. And that's something we measure, because we realized in the past, if you don't measure that one, people always have excuses because it's always busy. So I'm pleased to see now that already now in September we have much more number of hours versus last year. So that was one element. And then the other element, which was also close to my heart, is how do we make sure that not only the leaders but everyone has a development plan. So the idea is that we have 100% of all our employees, no matter which level, have a tailored development plan, and they have to drive it. And then the third one is also something that I think is important is it's nice to have training courses, but I think you learn a lot by doing. So what we also try to have is for 30% of our people to have different type of experiences. So be it work in a different department, work abroad. So those are some of the elements we're doing. And then you mentioned it indeed, the people have access to over 4,000 courses on LinkedIn, on Coursera, and we really count on them to decide, and also on the people manager to help them pick what they want. Of course, for some of the leaders, we've got some more tailored element that we try doing. But an important one as well that I see, AI is nice, but we do quite a bit as well of role immersion type of training. So role play, because that really also allows us for people to, again, to practice while they're doing something important. So I think that's the first element that I wanted to mention, and the other element that you spoke about. And I don't see too many young people in the room, but I think there are, and there's some also outside, is this summer internship. Because truly so, who is going to build the future is the young talent. And there, for example, this summer we had 27 interns joining us. And it was great because mostly indeed they work in projects related to AI, but it was really beautiful to see the interaction, to see their ideas. And there as well, for those in the room or for those maybe listening to us online, stay tuned for next year, because we publish on LinkedIn for those summer internships. Because I think it's extremely important to gain also their insight and to build together about tools that might help them. So I think in summary, very important, because if you want, also one of the core that we have as an Novartis is to reimagine medicine. But if you want to reimagine medicine, you have to reimagine everything. So you really have to have people that are curious, constantly learn, because the world is changing, in Turkey of course, but across the world. So we spend quite a bit of time also on learning, and it's also something that I love doing myself, because I think you've got to role model it yourself. Thank you.
What you shared was truly inspiring. Thank you, Natasha. Hakan Bey, Istanbul Chamber of Industry represents a large number of SMEs, small medium enterprises, which are the key players in Turkey's industrial landscape. As the country's largest industrial chamber, you have taken notable steps to develop vocational education, particularly in talent development, workforce productivity for SMEs. One of your major initiatives is Istanbul Vocational Education Summit. It is organized in partnership with the Ministry of National Education in Turkey. It promotes the cooperation between industry and education. It also helps young generations' integration into real business life. Additionally, you have your academy program. It has partnered with Columbia University to develop some certificate programs in business school. How do you evaluate the impact of these initiatives in strengthening the connection between industry and education? What specific steps are planned to further develop those collaborations?
Okay. So thank you very much for the kind introduction first. Also, thank you very much for the good questions, which has 3 dimensions. The first dimension is about Istanbul Chamber of Industry, why we are in the business. The second dimension is what we are doing in formal education, this vocational education. And the third part is, in my opinion, what we are doing in non-formal and informal, in non-formal education and informal learning, that's ISO Academy. Yes, you're right, we are the biggest chamber in Turkey. We have 24,000 member companies, so we are expected to support them in any issue. And nowadays, we should confess, actually in the last 10 years, employment is the biggest problem for them. They are usually complaining, they are much stressed, and there are huge problems. 2 huge problems. First of all, them is they cannot find employees for the companies. And the second one, if they find employees, there is a huge skill match. And of course, in this context, we are expected to create efficient solutions for the industrial companies. Again, in this context, vocational education seems as a solution. But there is a famous statistic in Turkey. The performance in vocational education is not so high in Turkey. Just 10% of the graduates working in their same field. This is terrible. So this starting point is very bad. So we try to convert it. And for many years, there are many attempts to change this. Many projects have started, but due to lack of cooperation, they couldn't succeed. In 2019, we signed a very strong and sophisticated protocol with the Ministry of Education. And we formally, for the first time in Turkey, put the industrial members into the management of the schools. But I said sophisticated protocol. Please remember together the famous say of Da Vinci. He says that simplicity is the ultimate level of sophistication. That's why we left the sophisticated protocol aside and said we relate 3 key messages to our stakeholders. First of them is we will attract high qualified students to the schools. We will educate them very well with the strong focus of employment, and afterwards we will provide them to work in their field. To do this, we provided continuous interaction, and we have a strategic roadmap starting from curriculum, teacher training, student training, internship, and employment performances. At the end of the day, we are, we are looking at the performance goals. If they succeed, we think we are successful. We have a very strong performance support system and performance follow-up system. I will not go into details because we have time limitation, but I should say everybody in this room will be happy. The percent in Turkey is just 10%. In our schools, it's 4 times more, 42%. And this year, we are working with Meltem. She is with me today. This year, we are expecting more than 50%, Meltem, as I remember. This is absolutely a success story for Turkey. That's why we became one of the most prominent partner of Ministry of Education, because the result is very concrete. And by the way, we are getting awarded. In 2022, we are awarded by TISC. In 2023, we were awarded by the World Chamber Congress in Geneva. And so we are getting awarded. So we are enjoying the concrete results. We are more than happy. But you can ask, vocational education is okay, but what will be happen after graduation? The new life starts, and Columbia Business School is a part of this start. It's ISO Academy. Just some figures for ISO Academy. We are approximately training 70,000 participants per year. We have approximately 370 elite trainers, and we are cooperating with universities too much, and the satisfaction rate is more than 90%. So the content is okay. After the content is okay, we focus on a new paradigm which directs us with the principles of lifelong learning. That is, we put the learner in the center of the ISO academic paradigm, and if you are a learner and wake up in the early morning, if you want to have awareness about the subject, come to our seminars. If you want to have some deep knowledge, come to our trainings. If you want to be specialist in a subject, come to our training programs. If you want to have a general concept, come to our mini MBAs. If you want to have an elite program, come to our Columbia Business School schools. If you don't like to interact with people, come to our online courses. So we gave all the opportunities, because lifelong learning says that you have to create the opportunities. The learner should come directly whenever he or she wants. And we have good cooperations with very good organizations. TEGEP is one of them. Maybe TEGEP is the most important platform of training and development in Turkey. We started a cooperation with them. We started a need analysis together. The speaker from Nestle said that passion is important in the morning. So we started with TEGEP. I was sitting in my room, in my office, sorry, a little bit longer. Then I think, what can I do better? Then I remember all the chambers in Turkey. There are over 300. It's quite impossible to take them into action, but there are 12 just industrial chambers in Turkey. I closed my doors, called them in the very early morning. They replied me in a very positive manner. So it's the first time in Turkey conducted in 12 cities at the same time need analysis, and is supported by the presidency of Turkey as well. It's a success story. So passion and cooperative work is very important at this stage. So and we are getting very good numbers. And while we are developing this story, we noticed something original. Our vision was to be one of the most known business schools in the world. But our story is different. There are very famous business schools in the world. They are very good, have elite programs. They are very expensive, I think, earning much money. There are some other academies. They train thousands of participants as well. But I think our model is the most comprehensive model and the most interrelated model. That's why we define ISO Academy as a new generation business school, and is our motto. We say, and I will say in Turkish, ISO Academy, Yeni Nesil İş Okulu. It's famous in Turkey. And what we are going to do in future, Istanbul Chamber is the biggest chamber in Turkey. We have always the motivation to share our know-how with the other cities in Turkey. That's why we have started to share our know-how. We are even building system for other cities. We have started with Mersin, Eskişehir, Yalova, and Şırnak. And we are doing the same for ISO Academy as well. Thank you very much. 2 minutes more. Sorry.
Your
The
insights
story
are
is too
incredibly
much.
helpful. Thank you very much, Hakan Bey, for sharing. Anyway, now I will proceed with your question. Akkodis is a global leader in digital engineering area, and it plays a really significant role in advancing the smart industry. To support your clients' digital transformation, you offer services including talent development, some trainings, solutions, consulting, and all driven by a passion for technology and talent. Specifically, your global initiatives like Tech Skills Enhancement Program, Innovation Labs, Digital Transformation Trainings, Akkodis Academy, they are designed to build expertise. How do these programs develop technology and engineering skills for newly emerging industry trends?
Thank you, Nazmi Hanım. First of all, I would say it's a pleasure to be here with this valuable guest and with this great audience. At Akkodis, we believe our global trainings in technology and engineering are key to speed up the digital transformation and preparation for the future of work. I read an article from World Economic Forum that states that 65% of the kids starting school today will end up in jobs that don't even exist now. So this shows us how fast technology is evolving, and also it shows that why it is so important to stay ahead when we are planning our careers. Our programs like Akkodis Academy, Innovation Labs, Digital Data Transformation Trainings, Technical Skill Enhancement Programs, and Leadership Programs, Development Programs, or also help the talent to be ready for the future jobs. They help the next generation ready for what's to come. Through these programs, we are helping our employees and companies to adapt to digital age. For instance, Akkodis Academy offers trainings in cutting-edge areas like AI, like cloud computing and data analytics. And Akkodis Academy helps people to build their skills to adapt the digital world. Our innovation labs are all about the creative problem solving and tackling real world challenges, while our digital transformation helps individuals and companies build up their skills. But these are not all about the technical skills. Also, these programs are focusing on collaboration, problem solving, and continuous learning, which are essential for the future jobs. Also, our technical skill enhancement programs keep technical abilities up to date. With these programs, we are not just stabilizing our current team, but also we are building a workforce ready for the future. In short, our global training programs at Akkodis are designed to develop skilled professionals who can drive digital transformation. In Akkodis, we are nearly have 50,000 engineers worldwide. Not all of them engineers, but they are technical guys, IT people, and digital professionals. And we are operating at the 4 continents with our customers, operating in defense industry, IT industry, banking, automotive, with this kind of sectors. So that's I can say.
That was a very thoughtful response. I really appreciate it. Now, I would like to thank my all speakers for their wonderful contributions so far. Now, we will move on to the second round of questions. To be honest, these are the questions I'm personally excited to hear their answers as well. Eric, you have your university degree in economics, and you have your MBA degree from the University of Lausanne. Could you please elaborate on how your academic foundation has shaped your contributions to Swiss Federal University, especially concerning global talent trends? What can you tell us?
Thank you. Quite difficult question, I have to say. But yes, working in vocational education and training, but actually I started with a university degree. But when I look back now, to be honest, to see, okay, when I ask the question, what could I use from these studies? So, not sure about that. Maybe 10%, 15%, I don't know. And yeah, I think it's it was mentioned also this morning and today. It's about curiosity. It's to take ownership initiatives. So during my studies, in addition to the plan, actually I went to internships. So I did a 3-month internship in South Africa, in a company there, and then after the studies, I did an internship 2 months in Taiwan. And yeah, you know, these kind of experiences in another cultural context, where you can't read any letters that are written in the street, different culture. I think this can give you much more, or prepares you much more for the real work life, as you know, the study plans at the university. I have to say, yeah. So to be short, I think right from the beginning, it was a little bit in my DNA, this international thing with these internships, and that my work at Swiss Post. So I took care also of the apprentices there. So I got in the world of education and vocational education and training, and that's why I'm there at SUVET now for more than 11 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric, for sharing. What you shared was already inspiring for us. Natasha, with your academic background in social, political sciences, business, European studies, along with extensive experience in global internal audit and strategic planning, strategic consulting, now you are leading one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in Turkish market as a country head. Given your involvement in healthcare industry in 2002, could you please share some examples of how your diverse background has influenced your strategic approach in Turkish market?
Many thanks. Not an easy question, but happy to try to answer that. Now, and I think maybe to start with, the one thing that you did mention is philosophy. So I love philosophy. And one of the motto that I love is from Socrates, is there is something that I know is that I know nothing. So that has really built, also for me, latest thing we did was together with the leadership teams, this year we finished also a course together in Kellogg's. I also did online medicine courses because I think you have to continue to learn. So I think that's, and how has that helped me? It was really helped me often to connect dots. Sometimes that people would not see. And then what I see as well is to have the diverse background. I'm not an expert in anything, but at least I've got a certain understanding, and it's about asking questions. So now if I go back to your specific question is, if I take the example of strategic consulting, that has helped me because unfortunately in less than 2 years we had to restructure the company twice. So of course, in the consulting, you do wonderful PowerPoints. There is a bit of a difference between doing the PowerPoint and being responsible with the team and implementing it, but the consulting piece really helped me as well to do that. Then the internal audit piece has been also extremely useful because when you, as you say, we are the second biggest company, we've got a big footprint. We do clinical trials, we do manufacturing, we sales. And in fact, having the background in internal audit helps to understand on one hand the processes, the issues, but also having then traveled around over 40 countries in my prior life is super helpful because you can sometimes help the team, challenge the team, share best practices. The other element that has been interesting, but where I learn as well, is I was, for example, responsible at the global level to put in place business continuity management as well as enterprise risk management. So there is a massive difference between sharing a big risk report to the board of directors versus facing the local risks. Or to name, I mean, we all went for the terrific earthquake last year, and yes, I knew what was the playbook in theory when something happens, but it's completely different when you're being woken up at 5 o'clock in the morning and you know you've got over 60 people down there and you just don't know what to do. And I think that has been tremendous, because I think there you learn, okay, it's not about you, it's not about what you know, it's about, okay, how do you react, how do you work with teams, and in those cases I would say probably is how do you become pragmatic and try to link with the people and what you have. And I think the other piece is to be also part of the ECN at the global level has been helpful as well, because it helps me connecting the dot between the local market, the region, and the global side of it. So I think it's really trying to complement the approach, knowing what you don't know, and it's a lot I don't know, and then trying to trust the team to do that and continue to learn, but also trying to empower the team to continue to learn.
Your input was truly motivating. Thank you for sharing. Hakan Bey, I think it's obvious for everyone that you have your remarkable communication skills. You studied communication, then you have your master and PhD degrees in labor, economics and industrial relations. How have you applied this academic background in your current position at Istanbul Chamber of Industry? Could you please also provide us some examples of its impact on meeting Turkey's talent needs?
So thank you very much. What I should say before is related to the title of the panel as well. But I have mainly learned for vocational education and training. The nature of vocational education and training has changed much. When we talk about vocational education in 80s, it's mainly related to vocational institutions, schools. But after 2000, due to the dynamism of vocational education, the integration of business side, mainly industry side, became a necessity. This necessity needs a... And when we talk today, when you ask me what vocational education today is, I will say that 20% is vocational education and 80% is business development. That's why I should congratulate the person who gave the name to this panel as well. You know why? In our project, for example, it's important. It's sometimes I'm warning my colleagues as well. What we are doing is not a vocational education project, because we are utilizing many technical know-how. First of them is strategic thinking, system design, cooperative work, public relations. I mean real public relations. So many people are talking about public relations, but technically public relation is a difficult issue. One-to-one communication, in-group communication, and performance management, and performance appraisal as well. That's why we have to have a good mind of business development in this thing. And we have to customize every item in this project. For example, as I said, communication is important. When we ask someone at the street the communication issue, they will say generate your content and relay the content to the stakeholders. It's not that easy. Look at our stakeholders, please. Families, kids, students, employers, employees, the public authorities, and non-governmental organizations. So for each of them, you have to have a spatial content, spatial channel, spatial volume, spatial timing. It's not so easy. You maybe will not even believe our performance management system is inspired by Norton's balance scorecard system. We have a customized model and it's functioning, it's working. we know it. We have a balanced performance. At the end of the day, our performance is 4 times more in comparison to Turkey. So how I put my experience in this project? So I worked at the SME. I worked at the biggest conglomerate in Turkey. So I studied at different universities in Turkey. I completed my PhD in Istanbul University. By the way, I was born in Germany. My preschool was in Germany. So whatever I do, I put all my experience in this project with my colleagues. I think that's why it's successful. Passion, combined with experience is the secret of the success, I think. By the way, again, the sir from Nestle said passion, and the other one was leadership. I should thank to my chairman in the chamber as well, because I think he's a good leader, because he's not interfering to details. He's saying what he wants to reach, and we are doing that in a very free and big space, and we are reaching the performance. Thank you.
It was very enlightening. That's a great perspective. Thank you, Hakan Bey. Ali Bey, unlike us, you are an engineer, and a good one. After you completed your university and master degrees at Istanbul Technical University, how do you see the impact of your academic background has influenced your strategic approach on vocational education, particularly with the skills that you gained in automotive industry? In your current position at Akkudis, what insights can you share about how your academic and professional experiences have shaped your approach, particularly to upskilling and reskilling?
Thank you, Nazmi Hanım. Yeah, I'm a mechanical engineer, but I'm not doing now it. When I look back, it was 20 years ago that I got my master's degree from Technical University. It's 20 years is a very long time, and for a human being. And in the 20 years, a lot of things change, especially technology, education curriculum, and methodologies are rapidly changing at an accelerated pace. So you have to adapt these changes, and you have to improve yourself. Also, you have to be brave, not to make mistakes, because experience is coming from the failures and mistakes, not from the success. So it is very important to try what you are involving with. In the combination of theory and practical experience I got from my both education and working in the industry has been a big advantage when it comes to creating strategies and developing talented teams in my position. Also, the education gives a person a foundation in engineering and business strategies. But working in the automotive industry really helped me a lot to understand how the industry actually works, especially in the areas like production, design and development. So that's all I can say.
Thank you. Let me express my gratitude to our speakers for their excellent contributions so far. Now it's the time for Q&A. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We will bring a microphone to you. I believe there is a microphone runner to help us with this. Please introduce yourself, then you can state the name of the specific panelist to answer if there is any. If you can also keep your questions brief, we will try to get as many as possible. Şuraya gelebilir misiniz? İlk kaldırmıştım efendim.
I would like to ask, as a mother of a high school daughter, do you give feedbacks to universities? Because the universities' curriculums are not getting updated so easily. And when I look at what is my daughter will gonna do, I cannot see the future really clearly. So do you collaborate with universities and give your feedbacks to universities what you need in work life? And my second question could be, what is the
Maybe
future?
Maybe if we can, whom you would like to answer your question?
Natasha.
Many thanks for the question, and I would say probably yes and no is right. I mean, the yes piece is, if I take the example here in Turkey, we're working together with the, sorry if I pronounce it wrong, but with Bogaci University, and what we're doing is, for example, a woman healthcare program. So there we really work hand in hand with the university and really tailor the program for them. But it's true, it's more kind of for people already in the workforce. So there is an element of feedback. When I was in Switzerland, in the global role, we had some collaboration more locally. So that's probably the answer that I can give. But I think it's what I've been doing was a bit sometimes going to high school now to also kind of explain a bit what is the path. But I think it's an extremely good feedback. How much could we shape or give feedback to university? Because I think at least if I look at ourselves, we're not doing enough of it. And I'm also a mother of two, and indeed, if I see what's going up, I'm not sure. Thanks for a good question.
Thank you. The second question is, what is your future job trends in your perspective?
To me or to...
Okay.
I think very aligned with what we discussed this morning. I think it's... Of course, it depends about the industry, but independently from where you're coming from, I think there is a mix of what I see is we have to do to be much more collaborative. If I look into our industry, for example, in the healthcare, what we're trying to do much differently than probably in the past is how can we reach out to many more partners. So we try to work with startups, we try to work with the government, we try to work with doctors' associations. So I think one trend is really towards less internal, okay, that's my company and I stay with my company, into much more, okay, what's in it for society and how can we shape together. So I think that's more kind of where is it going. And in terms of the skills, I think very aligned with what we discussed this morning. It's really a big mix of, okay, yes, we need to build the EQ part, but the IQ part, but the emotional intelligence is super important. So that's also something we're working on with our team, is how can we really, and also assess that. Because that's also what I see now. We really, especially here, we have to do new things. And that's what I see now in the Turkish society. Sometimes it's difficult for people to fail because they don't see failure as a success. So how do we also train, the current workforce, but the upcoming one, to say you have to fail, exactly to the point we heard before, to do new things. So that's probably also where I see is how can we shape those mindsets. Hope that answers more or less your question.
Should I speak like that? My voice is enough.
We can hear you.
All right, okay. So my name is Hakan. I'm coming from Germany. I studied all my life abroad in Turkey. I'm proud to be Turkish, but I don't like the education system. I'm going to have a question from the Miss Natasha. As the technology develops very speedily, like we can see with our eyes, and at the same time in Europe and the first world countries has very much problem with the employees. So do you think that in the future artificial intelligence going to cover that the young generation missing in the Europe, or do you think that adopt from the third world country, the people going to the Europe is going to solve the problem? Which is more realistic to you? And second question is going to be for Mr. Hakan. At the beginning of the speaking, you mentioned that the people are just focusing one topic. They study one topic, after then they are going to work all day life with the same topic. Do you think to be different part of the business is more useful, or adapting on or focusing one point in the business life more useful for you?
I didn't say like that, something like that, as I remember. So I didn't say like that, something like that.
No, I just understood that, like you said that the people are just like when they are studying they are focusing one part, something like that, or something misunderstanding from my side. Anyway,
I think I couldn't tell well, but I'm not saying that people are just focusing on some subject.
Okay, then anyways,
If there is that kind of problem, we can focus on them as well, but later on maybe
all right, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much as well.
So many thanks for your question, and let me make sure I understood you correctly. So is your question more about, do we believe that is the youth in Europe with AI versus the emerging markets in AI? Is my understanding correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. Honestly, I think it has to be both. It clearly has to be both. What I've been seeing now, traveling to many countries in the world, I think what you have in some of the emerging markets, let me give an example in Africa. In Africa, for example, we were not reaching some patients very far away, and then they leapfrog. They leapfrog with the app, they leapfrog with drones. So in some cases, the emerging market, as they don't have all the complex infrastructure that we might have even here in Turkey and Switzerland, there you have sometimes the advantages to leapfrog. In other pieces, if I look into maybe more sophisticated part, clinical trials, research, there I would say it's across the world. For now, probably more in the US, Switzerland, China, when there is more infrastructure to use AI to really find. So for me, honestly, it should be it should be both, because I think literally all from young to old to work with AI, and then combine the forces. So I think it's an all together, and sometimes again I think to the point before, and how we better into sharing, because sometimes we're really way too around what's in it for us versus what's in it for the rest of the world.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Hakan, would you like to clarify? Okay. Thank you. Anyone who has a question?
Hello, my name is Nermine. I grew up in Switzerland, in the French part of Switzerland, and also in the healthcare business, more specifically mental care. So as you know, in Switzerland there are many tendencies in healthcare that are not recognized and reimbursed by the health insurances. So how do you think this is actually inclusive, and this encourages and endorses real vocational education? Because it sounds, or it seems, that big corporations have their own plan, which are imposed on people, so it goes down, but it doesn't really help people to really explore their own potential and then eventually open really what they want to do. So how do you explain this? Thank you. To anyone, I don't know who wants to ask.
Eric, would you like to take this question?
I'm not sure I fully understood the question, so if you start, and I'll make sure I'll answer properly.
So I couldn't hear as well very well.
Do you mind just rephrasing to make sure we really understood your question properly?
So my question was how, in Switzerland more specifically, many health insurances don't reimburse what they call alternative medicine, for example. So how is this inclusive, and how does this encourage vocational education? Because it seems that big corporations like Novartis have their own educational program that they impose on people. They don't really, truly encourage vocational education. Thank you.
I'm trying to think how to best answer it, because I think it's very specific to Switzerland, which I'm from, so I have no excuse also from the front. But is it more the point that the insurances are not reimbursing for the mental health, but more in terms of people with mental health problem working? That's the piece I'm trying to link.
So they're not recognizing vocational education in that case, because what we call alternative medicine in Switzerland, like let's say for example Reiki or anything like that, to just take an example, this is vocational education. This is really people who had to study outside of the normal academical stream but then they don't find a job, and then they cannot get recognized by the official healthcare system. So how does this link to what you just said, that we encourage vocational education? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Maybe later
We
on one-to-one.
understand the importance of your question. Maybe it's better if we can dive into details just right after the panel. If you can come closer after the panel, I think you will have your answers. Okay. Is there any question?
Hello. Okay, my name is Helia. As I'm new graduated.
Sorry for interrupting, but could you please speak a bit louder? We cannot hear you.
I'm graduated in Turkey as a student. I'm newly graduated. I want to know, as we are without experience, I want to find a work in our field. What we are going to do and how we can find our way on our field that we are studied, and how we can start it as we don't have experience. As Hakan Bey said, like most of the people when they study, they are working in the other fields, like they are studying architecture, engineering, anything, they are working in the other things. How we can find our way as we study for it.
Okay. But you are a university graduate, right?
Yeah.
What I was talking was about vocational education graduates. They are a little bit younger than you, approximately 4 years younger. They are not they are not working in their field. At the universities, we don't know the ratio actually. In universities, we don't face any problem in Turkey. Mm-hmm. But I can suggest for you, as the people in the morning said, I think soft skills is important at this stage. So I mean, patient leadership and the other things, and communication, of course. If you can prove that you are good in that competencies, I think you will get the advantage.
No, and maybe from personal experiences, was mentioned from others, I think internships are very important. I would say start as early as possible. Now I understand you've graduated, but even then, if you say it's difficult to find a first full job, my advice would be really try to go into internship or ask companies to mix around the different departments, because it often takes a few rounds to really understand in it what are you truly passionate about, and sometimes they need to have the courage to realize, okay, I've not picked the right choice for me, and then to turn around and try something new.
Is she a graduate or study? No, graduate, so she doesn't have chance for internship.
I think some company do.
Hello, this is Pelin Su. I have a question for Eric, actually. I have a son at age 16, and he studies at a vocational school in Turkey. And do you have a scholarship programs for international students after this high school? Do you have a position like that, or I have misunderstood about these international affairs?
It's
Thank
a direct
you.
question to you.
Thank you. Yeah. I think I have to disappoint you. No, we don't have these kind of scholarship programs. I think this, rather than direct with some companies that work together with Switzerland, maybe they have some exchange programs or internship programs with international apprentices. But actually our university is focusing on international collaboration, in international collaboration projects, so on a systemic level. So we are responsible for training of the teachers, pedagogical training. And as explained before, so we support all this process of the development of professions, so from a pedagogical point of view.
I see, thank you. And another question for Mr. Hakan. I mean, in Turkish meslek okulları, after that education, you know, there is a very big difference between the students comes from normal or other high schools, but the vocational schools, and there is not a positive discrimination. I mean, we are waiting for the exams. I mean, AYT, TYT. Positive discrimination. What are you thinking about that?
You are waiting for positive discrimination for the vocational schools.
Yes.
Okay,
Exams.
we are pressing the government to make that kind of positive discrimination because we have to increase the ratio in the Turkey. We have some prior feedbacks that they are considering to create that kind of incentives, even for the military service as well, not just for how can I say, for tax issues, for the security issues, also for the military service as well. We are waiting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, now we are getting closer to the end of our time together. Here are top 4 takeaways I heard. Eric, he has shared some visionary strategies Swiss Federal University has developed for vocational education and training. Natasha, she has been underlining the importance of training programs to develop talents. And I believe that Novartis can be considered as a great example for other employers in Turkish market. Hakan Bey, thank you very much for showing us that it's not only a problem only for employers, even public institutions, chambers, and NGOs, they can support. They have really a crucial role on it. Ali Bey also, he has shared their focus on developing talents with upskilling, reskilling programs for the area where the talent scarcity is already an issue. In fact, I was planning to wrap up my session by summarizing what my speakers said, but since we still have time, I may have one final question for you. If there is only one thing you would like this audience to take away from this session, what would it be?
By one sentence. Learner is in the center.
Thank you, Hakan Bey. Eric, do you have final words? No?
This morning, as a young boy and young girl, I have dreams, I have a passion, and I think there are possibilities in vocational education and training.
Then I would say growing together, which is really in the space of growing as human being and then together because I think we need to do more together as partners.
I can say that don't be afraid of making mistakes. Try again and again. That's I can say.
Thank you. Well, it looks like that we have reached to the end of our session. I would like to thank my panelists for their insightful contributions today. I would like to thank you for your participation, engagement, thoughtful questions. Thank you for being here. We hope you will leave today with a deeper understanding of vocational education and some new perspectives to think about. Now, please put your hands together and please give them a very big round of applause. Thank you. Göreceksiniz. Eğer CV hazırlama workshop'una katılmak isterseniz, kariyer gelişim tavsiyeleri isterseniz, iş arama sürecinizde fikir almak istiyorsanız uzman danışman arkadaşlarımız ve yöneticilerimiz sizi bekliyorlar. Standa uğrayabilirsiniz.
She was like,